It all starts with darkness. Chen Liyi gets awoken by the sounds of merrymaking and the smell of something good. When he opens his eyes, he gets a blurry vision of a group of women dancing around a chunk of meat roasted over fire. Chen gets up, suddenly invigorated by what he sees. What man wouldn't want good food and women? He jumps, then he discovers he's tied up by ropes. A prompt screen suddenly appears in front of him. In it says, Main mission, survive. Goal, survive for 12 hours under primitive people's chase. Reward, attribute point ×1. Survival package ×1. Time remaining, 1 minute 20 secs. Chen looks at the group of women, who have now been replaced by big muscular men. Then he remembers what happened 12 hours ago. He also woke up on a desolate, strange island. He was thinking about accompanying a rich lady shopping, then he got sent to this unfamiliar place. He remembers the same men making odd sounds at him. Chen initially thought they were part of a survival television show, but when the men started throwing sharp bones at him, he realized they were serious about injuring him. A prompt screen appeared in front of him. It said the main mission, which is to survive, has been triggered, along with a countdown. A femur bone flew at him, hitting him hard on the neck. He lost consciousness and woke up 12 hours later. Another prompt appears showing that he completed the goal. He's been rewarded with +1 attribute point and a survival package. Since those men are not paying attention to him, Chen thinks it's best to know more about his situation. A prompt shows him his attributes: physique, strength, agility, prestige, technology, and land. He immediately understands that this is some kind of system or a game. He opens the survival package to know more. He finds out he's been given the novice rank specializing in all languages, as well as the survival booklet. His own map is now activated, where he can record the places he'll go to. He's also given the split mountain axe with a reminder that it can't be put into storage once taken out. It's like a whole chunk of data is being downloaded into his brain. He suddenly understands the language of the primitive men. He concludes that he's been sent to the primitive world, a time when societies are yet to be created. This must be a game in which the goal is to survive and create his own civilization. Knowing where he is now and what he has to do, Chen becomes determined. He adds the attribute point to his strength and takes out the axe. He easily frees himself from the rope, feeling the strength rewarded to him. The primitive men take notice of this. They immediately cry out for Chen's capture. With the goal of turning him into their evening meal, Chen bluffs at them, saying he is a god and that they disrespected him. The man who wears a bone helmet and leather straps must be the leader, because he gets angry at what Chen said and threatens to hit him with his bone stick. Will Chen be able to survive? A prompt with a new mission appears in front of Chen. He has to deter the primitive people and subdue them to be their leader. They'll get another attribute point if he completes this, but he'll lose his axe if he doesn't. Chen knows that without a weapon in this era, he's as good as dead. The leader hits him with his bone, and Chen defends with his axe. They both come to a standstill. The leader is obviously strong, but Chen won't easily give in. Another thing is that the bone stick hit the blade of the axe, and so Chen pushes through, managing to cut off the tip of the bone stick. When he realizes his weapon is destroyed, the leader cries like a sore loser. He commands his men to attack Chen. He has no choice but to run. One of them catches up to him. Just before he can hit him, Chen parries his stick with his axe. He then tells the primitive people to not piss him off and move back or he'll go overboard. But in truth, he's just bluffing. There's no way he can take on all of them if they charge at him at the same time. It looks like his warning worked, but they all run away as if suddenly scared of him. Chen wonders why when a prompt appears with a side mission. He has to chase the saber-tooth away. If he succeeds, he'll earn 2 attribute points and the primitive people's favorability. It's a mission that's automatically accepted and can't be rejected. Saber-tooth? Where? Chen asks. And that's when he hears the growl behind him. The huge feline is ready to jump at him. Chen runs away, still disbelieving that he's facing a real, live saber-tooth. The animal viciously claws at him, and he only manages to dodge in a split second. At one point, the claws get him, sending him to the ground. How can he chase away such a gigantic cat? One bite from it, and he'll be in halves. Chen has to think of a way. He notices the smoke rising from the distance. He suddenly remembers the lamb meat being roasted earlier. He decides to lure the saber-tooth there and then chase it away with fire. He turns to the feline and waits for his chance when the animal jumps. Once it does, he slides underneath it. But the saber-tooth just body presses him to the ground. His ribs may not be the same after that, but Chen continues to run, dodging the claws here and there. After a few jumps and forward rolls, he finally reaches the bonfire. He pulls a burning stick and pokes it into the cat's eye. The saber-tooth is disoriented. Chen holds both his axe and the burning stick, preparing to fend off the incoming attack. Just then, a loud rumbling coming from the forest stops both of them. The roars from the unidentified beast continue, scaring even the saber-tooth. It looks like it's already forgotten about Chen. Without ado, it runs away, leaving Chen confused. A prompt tells him that he's successfully completed the side mission. He earns 2 attribute points and the favorability of the primitive people. The roars continue, which make Chen think whatever animal it is coming closer. He decides to distribute his points to strength and agility, and then runs back to the people. Along the way, he shows off his newly gained attributes, like he's on an obstacle course. He finally finds the group of primitive people hiding in a shallow trench. The leader and the others are shocked to find Chen still alive, and well after his face-off with the large feline. Chen scoffs, boasting that a mere saber-tooth is just a kitten in his eyes. He says he defeated it, and it ran away. The primitive people are still looking blankly at him while Chen waits for their adoration. As the primitive people celebrate Chen as their newly appointed king, he receives another main mission from the prompt. This time, it's about settlement. His goal is to assist the primitive people in building their home, establishing their tribe, and expanding the population to 50. Since the mission is triggered in advance, Chen will get 18 days to do it instead of 15. If he succeeds, he'll receive 3 attribute points, a large-scale resource chest, and a heritage plaque. Chen counts the people in the group. There are 15 members at present. Since he's only given 18 days, the best way to expand the population is by assimilating other tribes with them. With that plan in his mind, Chen decides to call it a day. And so, after an exciting day, everyone just lies down on the ground and falls asleep. But Chen can't sleep because his stomach growls. His hunger is only catching up to him after all of his adventures. He remembers the roasted lamb left in the forest, as well as that unknown beast that interrupted his fight with the saber-tooth. A part of him is afraid to go back because he may encounter the beast, but overthinking will do him no good. And so, retreating his axe, he goes back to where the food is. Thankfully, it hasn't been touched or anything. And there are additional meats too. Now that he's considered the king of those primitive people, he can't just think about himself anymore. He needs to think about their welfare too. He takes all the meat and then goes back to their camp. On his way, he slips into a shallow, flat hole. Chen wonders what that hole is doing there and how the moon is shining brightly there when the place is thickly covered by trees. When he looks around, he realizes it's not an ordinary hole, but an animal footprint the size of a mini jacuzzi. Chen should have known sooner. If a saber-tooth is alive in this era, then dinosaurs also exist. This is not just a primitive era, but a point in time when deadly animals were still alive. That makes his mission more important than ever. As the king, he needs to find a good and safe settlement for his tribe. Once the sun rises, Chen distributes the food to everyone. Again, he witnesses their savagery as they fight for food. They don't have concepts of modesty or sharing, which will make it a hard task to teach them. Chen tells everyone that those who'll hunt for that day will be prioritized when it comes to food. When he asks who'll come and hunt with him, the leader explains that they take turns hunting. But almost everyone wants to go with Chen because they admire him. Eventually, he decides to allow anyone who wants to follow him to come along. He says that he needs to find a place to build their home. The largest woman in the tribe, Chen calls her Big Big, asks what home is. Chen explains that home is a safe place where one can live with their people. It's where nourishment and security are provided for the members of a family. Big Big gets excited but misunderstands Chen's explanation. She thinks he wants her to bear his children, which is the least of Chen's current priorities. The previous leader, Chen calls him Stone Bone, asks where they should build their home. With that, Chen asks everyone to gather around so he can explain fully. He sits on the ground, and using a twig, he draws diagrams of how their home should be built. It's like a small community nestled near the mountains and river. That way, they can have a water source for drinking and irrigation, as well as a wood source for their houses and other needs. It will also be ideal for their protection at night. Chen continues to explain, even though his listeners don't understand what he's trying to describe. Suddenly, a meek voice offers him knowledge, as he knows a place that fits Chen's descriptions. That boy is the same one who threw the first stick at Chen during his first arrival on that island. Chen noticed earlier that he seems shy around him, and it may be because he's feeling guilty for hunting him. so Chen calls him Seeker and gives him the opportunity to speak up. Seeker says there's a place like what Chen described located in the east, but it's dangerous to go there because of a herd of cows that shouldn't be messed with. Chen is confused. Cows are a good source of meat and milk. There's nothing to be afraid of, so they should hunt them. With his mind focused on the goal, he announces to his tribe that they will go east to build their new home. The environment looks calm and clear. A goofy chicken head pops out of the bushes to report the status to Chen. But it's just a disguise worn by Seeker. He says they can set off soon once the area is safe. Chen still doesn't get what makes Seeker nervous. He reminds them that he has chased the saber-tooth away. If it comes back, he'll protect them. Seeker agrees even though he's still tense. They walk a little further upwards until they can see what's on the other side. It is a large grassland area with forests dotting the sides. A river runs through the middle, and on the far side, large rock formations block what's beyond. Chen can smell the sea, so he's sure it's nearby. He checks his map for confirmation. Indeed, the place is an ideal location for their first settlement. Suddenly, Seeker grabs him, warning him of the presence of the herd of cows. Chen relents. He checks his survival manual and discovers that there are 3 types of plants and 2 types of animals close by. There's the green sunflower grass, which can be used to relieve stomach pain, a dragon vine that contains mild toxins that can numb and paralyze, and the big sabaki tree that can provide good quality wood for house building. Gray squirrels are prevalent there, a good source of delicious meat, and pincer wasps whose stings can become fatal. Chen doesn't see a herd of cows, so he asks Seeker where they are. Seeker points to the area and volunteers to lead the group there. 30 minutes later, they are under the cover of trees and bushes. This time, Seeker strongly warns them not to go any further or else they'll be discovered. Chen is so confused. It's all quiet there. Why should they be scared of a bunch of cows? He wonders if Seeker remembered wrongly. Just then, a large black tree moves. When Chen looks up, he realizes how wrong he is about those cows. To be fair to Seeker, he may not know how to describe them, or that the right term for those cows is freaking giant minotaurs with glowing blue markings. Even their moos sound terrifying. Chen's database updates, now including the name of those monsters. They're called iron-horn black cows. They're mainly herbivorous and have a strong sense of territory. Chen regrets saying they should hunt those cows. But how could he have known that they're dealing with beasts? He has no choice but to stand by his words, especially now that his tribe is looking up to him. He sneaks closer to the cows, who had no idea about his presence. Chen is terrified. Just one of its arms is thicker than his body, and it's rude to interrupt an eating cow. Then he spots the smallest one, which is still bigger than him. He decides to be polite first. He greets it and asks about the yummy grass. Without warning, the cow shrieks, its markings changing from blue to red. Now all the cows spot him, and they all start chasing him. Chen cries out as he sprints away. The cows are persistent, even crossing the river just to get him. Chen continues to run towards the large rock formations. Meanwhile, his tribe men are in awe. They marvel at how daring their king is for provoking the entire herd. They see Chen starting to climb the rock wall. Chen uses his attributes to maintain his distance. To his surprise, the cows all crash at the bottom of the wall. It seems that they can't stop in time and let themselves hit the rocks. Still, their markings are unchanged, meaning they are waiting for him to come down. Chen realizes this too. To utilize his time, he decides to climb further to see what's on the other side. It's the equivalent of paradise. Lush greens carpet the ground, and the sea sparkles under the bright sun. This is the perfect place for Chen to build not just his tribe, not a small community either, but his empire. Looking at the possibilities, his journey has just begun. Stonebone, Seeker, and the others try to look for their king. They think he may have been trampled by those bulls. Stonebone takes this chance to look for the king's divine axe weapon. But before his feet can touch the ground, that very weapon comes flying and smashing just beside him. Chen is still alive. Their king seems unharmed by his escapade with those cows. Chen tells his tribe that he wants to eat those cows' meat, by hook or by crook. To do that, he needs to teach his men how to make weapons. Then they'll come back to hunt those cows. They return to their camp, and soon Chen demonstrates how to create a weapon called a spear. It's a long wooden pole with one end sharpened to a point. After showing it to his men, his prompt shows up, telling him that creating the spear counts for a point for the technology attribute. Chen learns that he can also earn points that way, aside from the missions given by the system. He shows his men that a spear can be used to stab or throw into a target. Stonebone and others are amazed at this innovation. He says they've always picked sticks of wood in the past, but they never thought about sharpening it or throwing it that way. Stonebone and others just became huge fanboys of Chen. Chen gives the first spears Stonebone. Then he informs everyone that they will be training on using them after making enough for everyone. After a few hours, they take their spears and start their sparring. Chen observes that the men have brute strength but have no techniques. To tackle this issue, he tells two of them to come at him. After a few swipes, he takes down one of them. To the remaining one, Chen says they should fight to the end. After a quick maneuver, Chen defeats him. He then explains that a spear's advantage is its pointy end, which should be aimed at the enemy or the prey. They rely too much on their strength. It's time for them to learn basic techniques. Next, he instructs them to throw their spears at a stone target. Whoever hits the center will be given one extra spear. Stonebone goes first. As usual, his power makes the wooden spear go through stone, but Chen tells him he should work on his accuracy. Next to try is Seeker, who throws the spear just an inch near Chen's foot. He wonders if Seeker's accuracy is always aimed at him. The other men also try. Even though they manage to break through the stone, no one can hit the center, until a lone spear flies past Chen, and it hits the center perfectly. He looks around and sees that Stick, one of the boys around the age of Seeker, is the one who threw the spear. As promised, Chen gives him 2 spears for his accuracy. Just then, Big, who is on top of the trees and acts as their lookout, warns them about a beast heading their way. Chen instructs the men to grab their spears and get ready to fight. He thinks this will be a good opportunity to test what they have learned and gain practical experience in hunting. The stomping grows near, and what emerges from the trees is a huge boar ready to charge at them. Chen gets excited. He turns into a formidable warrior and tells everyone this boar will be their dinner for that night. The boar stomps and roars menacingly at them. Chen commands his men to circle around the boar as he tries to get all its attention. The boar sees him and charges at him. Chen manages to stop its charge and decrease its speed. Then he shouts at Stick and Black Boar to throw their spears at it. The boar's coat is thick, but their spears have pierced through it, causing immense pain. The animal shakes Chen off, then turns its attention to Stick, but the little guy is ready for him. He throws his second spear and hits the boar's eye. Stonebone and the others follow this feat. Soon, the boar stumbles, with multiple spears poking out from its body. The boar charges at Chen again. He evades. Seeker, who is hiding on top of that tree, takes his opportunity to spear the animal's head. However, the boar goes berserk, dangling the helpless Seeker on its head. Chen takes this chance to give the final blow. In one great slash, he decapitates the boar's head. Everyone celebrates this victory. Chen feels proud that the men have done really well. He announces that they will all share a hearty meal for that night. To Seeker, he says he did exceptionally well. And to Stick, he calls him the MVP. From now on, he can join in their hunts, and he'll forge new weapons for him. Later, the boar's meat is distributed. Big brings Chen a big slab of raw meat. She expects him to enjoy eating it. But Chen remembers that the tribe used fire to roast lamb when he first met them. How are they not using fire now? Big reveals that they found the fire already burning, and because they couldn't preserve the source, they tend to leave it. Chen is a caste. Fire is a fundamental discovery that helped civilizations develop. But these people don't know the significance of fire, aside from using it to make food delicious. At least not yet. Chen realizes he should teach them how to make fire to strengthen the tribe. He gathers everyone and tells them to observe what he's about to teach. After putting wood shavings and tree fluff into the depression in the log, he starts to vigorously roll a stick in it. Being patient is the key. Soon smoke arises from it, and a small fire emerges. Everyone cheers for their king. Someone even shouts that the god of fire has descended on them. Chen looks at them as they gather around the fire. Just then, his prompt appears. The system has recognized his fire-making skills as a new invention, and he's been awarded 10 points for the technology attribute. Chen is surprised to know he can easily earn points for technology. But he doesn't know what it is used for. When he clicks on it, he finds out that technology points can be used to identify a heritage plaque, and identification is worth 10 points. He remembers that heritage plaques are one of the rewards for his current mission settlement. Interrupting his thoughts is Seeker. The latter informs him that the boar they hunted bore traces of nursing, which indicates that there might be boar cubs nearby, and he is right as he's found them. A prompt appears showing a side quest. Chen must tame the boar cubs, fence them in, and domesticate them. He'll be rewarded with a small supply chest and a basic recipe. Chen looks at the side quest, noting the number 1. He thinks there may be more quests like this in the future. For now, he accepts it. He instructs Big and Seeker to find those boar cubs and bring them all safely to their camp. The two agree before setting off. Then Chen prepares to make multiple pigsties. After his men have eaten, he instructs them to collect branches from the trees nearby. As for Stick and the others, they are tasked with making grass ropes and collecting straws. After all materials are prepared, Chen shows them how to make a pigsty. First, he creates pits on the ground, forming a circle. Then he picks up several branches and ties them together to make a frame. Each pole of the frame is inserted into the pits, and they are tied again to secure the shape. The last step is to cover the cage with straw. And there, they have made their first pigsty. Everyone marvels at this new invention. They'd all admire their king for knowing so much and helping them. But then they all race inside the pigsty, thinking it will be their shelter from now on. Chen explains that it's not for them, but for the cubs that Big will retrieve. They will build their own houses, bigger and sturdier than the pigsties in the future. But for now, they will prioritize the cubs. Later, Big and Seeker return with all 8 of the cubs. Chen tells them to lead the animals into the pigsty. Stick wonders why they are caring for them instead of eating them right away. Chen explains that they can breed the cubs so they can have food supply for a long time, even without hunting. It's okay if they don't understand now. They'll eventually learn as days go by. With the side quest completed, Chen earns the small package reward and the basic recipe. He also gets another point in the technology attribute for creating the pigsty. When he opens the small package, it contains a bag of salt, and the basic recipe is actually a collection of very simple recipes using salt and immediate ingredients. The prompt reminds him that completing the recipes can unlock special rewards. Well then, Chen takes note of this. As the tribe sleeps around the pigsties, Chen and Seeker stay up to guard them. Chen mentions that Seeker has worked hard, from hunting the boar to guarding everyone for the night. Seeker says he still feels guilty for hunting Chen on the first day. He feels right to endure a little hardship in return. So Chen was right before, but he doesn't hold it against Seeker. In fact, he recognizes his intelligence, so he wants to know if he knows any tribes other than theirs. Seeker mentions the 3 different clans they've encountered so far. The first is the Coconut Grove clan, the closest to them and lives in the eastern forest. The clan has 30 to 40 people, doesn't like conflict, and is good at long journeys. The clan is governed by their formidable queen. The next is the Bay clan, residing in the southern coastal area. They have the same population as the Coconut Grove clan, but they all look terrifying, and they always engage in internal conflict. The third, and the most powerful, is the Giant Stone clan in the mountains to the southwest. They have the largest population. They rarely come down, and only for specific activities. Seeker says their leader has gained divine powers and can kill a tiger with bare hands. Chen considers this information. He assumes the Coconut Grove clan will be the ideal target for tribe assimilation. But he thinks that force won't work on them, and so he needs to create a plan to peacefully conquer them. Just then, Big comes at him from behind, offering a massage and an exciting activity. Chen fearfully and politely declines. Big makes cute kitty gestures, which makes Chen go rigid with fear. He awkwardly tells her she looks more like a saber-tooth. Not wanting to hurt her because of rejection, Chen grabs Seeker and runs away, saying he has an important task to do. Big is left feeling sad and unwanted. It may be impromptu, but Chen does have something important to do. That is, to observe one of the clans mentioned by Seeker earlier, the Bay clan. At the present, they see 2 of them running after some kind of bird. Chen's database updates to include the name of the new animal species, the dodo bird, a docile animal with poor meat quality but with high egg production. Chen thinks that if they manage to assimilate the Bay clan into their tribe, not only their population will increase, but they will also gain valuable resources like those dod birds. But Seeker warns him that the Bay clan likes conflict, right at the moment when the 2 hunters start fighting over the birds. They are brawny and simple-minded. They can easily overpower Chen's tribe. Chen agrees. He also realizes that their main priority now should be those herds of black bulls. If they manage to subdue those giant minotaurs, they can gain more resources like food and weapons. Chen decides they should head back. They still have a lot of things to do. When they arrive, Stone Bone and the others are very worried about Chen's disappearance. Chen apologizes and assures them that he won't leave them. In fact, he has a lot of instructions for them as part of their preparation for their next hunt. He orders Stone Bone and the men to continue their training with the wooden spears. He also assigns Stick to teach them throwing skills. They only have one day to train, so they should make the most of it. On the other hand, he tells Big Big to gather all the women, as their task is to create more spears and new weapons. Later, Big Big approaches Chen with a big flat stone. Chen approves of it, saying it can be used as a whetstone. He gathers the women to show them how to create a stone axe. First, the stone must be rubbed on the whetstone until it creates a sharp edge or point. Then tie it on a sturdy wooden stick with the grass rope, and there, their first stone axe. The women gush over how competent their king is. The creation of the stone axe has added another point to Chen's technology attribute, but he finds it stingy of the system to give him minimum points when he has created fire for the tribe. He tells the women to follow what he showed them in creating the axes. In just a short time, Big Big has managed to create a double-edged axe that looks similar to his own. A different kind of prompt appears, this time a blue one. It says that Chen has met the two conditions to activate a hidden feature of the system. The first condition, transition the tribe from the old Stone Age to the new Stone Age. The second one, help a tribe member reveal their talent. He now has access to talent discovery, where he can see what unique abilities his tribe members have. For Big Big, he is surprised to discover that she's a good tool builder. Chen immediately makes her the leader of the weapon-making group. He instructs the rest of the women to create more spears and stone axes, just like Big Big's. At sundown, the group has created 30 spears and stone axes. They got bruises and calluses, but for their king, they don't mind at all. But when they ask for a little affection, Chen gets easily scared. He decides to check the men's group to see how they're doing. A huge log suddenly flies towards him. He only has time to duck before the log hits the tree behind. He sees that it is a moving object, which indicates that the training must have progressed quickly and effectively. Stick, who is considered a throwing master by the system, approaches him and gives a report. Black Boar, the one with a horned skull helmet, does very well when teamed up with Stone Bone. Green Vine, the quiet, long-haired guy, has good techniques in throwing, but the best ones are Yellowstone and Wolfbone. They have unparalleled teamwork, showing high accuracy each time. Chen is pleased. They are moving quickly with their preparations, but of course they still need to prepare their secret weapon, just to be safe. Stick wonders what secret weapon is his king referring to. Night has fallen, but Chen is still hard at work creating a stone mortar. He recalls Stick's question earlier. What is their secret weapon? The answer is what they will be putting on the tip of their spears. Thanks to Chen's database, he knows that dragon vines can be used as a paralyzing agent. He has ordered his people to gather its grass, reminding them not to touch it with open wounds. He gains an attribute point after finishing the mortar, just as Big Big delivers the spears they created. He instructs her to crush the grass in the mortar and then dip the tip of the spears in the sap. It's better if all the women will help her. As for the men, he orders them to eat and rest, as they need their energy for their next big hunt. Eventually, Big Big and the others finish the task. She shoots a spear towards Chen, which he easily catches. After inspection, he thinks they are ready. His last instructions: the women will stay to guard and protect the children, while the rest will bring the weapons and follow them up the mountain. Everyone cheers. It's time to show those monster bulls what they are capable of. The sun is about to rise, but the moon is still visible in the sky. Stone Bone and the others patiently wait for their signal to attack. He reminds everyone that they can't afford to make mistakes, as their king has taken great risks to make their plan successful. 10 minutes earlier, Chen had gone down to the forest where the herd dwells. He'd taken the task to be the bait so his men could do the attack. He scouts the area to look for the ideal target. He sees a smaller bull drinking by the river. He throws some stones at it. As expected, the bull roars ferociously and starts chasing Chen. On their location, Seeker spots the movement among the bushes. Chen suddenly appears, with 3 bulls on his tail. Chen shouts at his men to target the first bull. Stone Bone leads them, and they successfully shoot not just the first bull but the other 2 as well. Stick then throws the final spear, which immediately brings the bull down, but they are tenacious, continuing to scrape at the rock wall. Chen climbs up, but the rock he holds on breaks. Thankfully, Stone Bone catches him. Stone Bone continues to lead the others in their attacks on the bulls until the animals can't move any longer. The paralyzing agent on the tips of the spear swiftly works its way into the animal's system. Chen realizes that Stone Bone has unlocked his talent, leadership. No wonder he was the previous leader before he arrived. Big Big, who manages the distribution of the spears, asks if Chen is okay. Chen says he's okay and that she should focus more on helping Stone Bone. Eventually, the bulls slow down. However, the rest of the herd has heard the cries of their companions. They rampage towards the rock wall, intending to avenge their friends. Chen calms his group. Everything is still according to plan. They need to make sure those 3 bulls won't escape. The cows have finally slowed down in their movements. Chen orders everyone to stop throwing their spears. At first, the men are confused about what their king wants. This is no time to be merciful on those cows, but Chen only asks for their inventory. Upon checking, they only have 28 remaining spears, while the herd of bulls still has 20 left. Even though they have more spears, Chen says they can't waste any more of it. In truth, Chen's real plan is to lure out the herd's boss. If they manage to take it down, the rest of the bulls will just scatter away, leaving the area free for their settlement. To do that, he needs to use 1 bull as the bait, but because 2 more followed, they have to spend significantly more spears just to subdue them. They need enough to defeat the leader. Regardless, the plan still works. Seeker announces that the herd's boss has finally arrived. If the bulls they have encountered are already frightening, their leader is much more monstrous and humongous. Just a single roar from it is enough to shake the rock mountain they are on. Then they notice the rest of the animals running straight ahead towards the rock wall. They all ram it at the same time with their hard heads. Cracks appear until a part of the wall crumbles. Everyone scrambles to get out of the way. Unfortunately, Big Big isn't fast enough. She falls among the rocks. Chen and Yellowstone immediately slide down to protect Big Big. Wolfbone and Green Vine follow them. Now they are on lower ground, surrounded by angry and huffing bulls. Chen assures Big Big that she's safe. Chen considers their situation. He realizes the herd's leader is smart enough to see through his trap, and that's why it only sent the foot soldiers first. Stone Bone wants to go down as well to protect their king. But Chen shouts back that they should stay up there to minimize the casualties. Just as he says it, 2 bulls charge at them. Green Vine goes in front of Chen and throws a spear at one of the bulls. Chen follows this attack with a swing of his axe. Immediately, the bull is defeated. Meanwhile, the other one runs towards Yellowstone. The latter throws his spear, but the bull intuitively swats it away. He then grabs its horns and uses his brute strength to hold the animal down. Wolfbone comes in from the side and hits the bull's eye. No pun intended. Stonebone sees this and orders others to focus fire on that bull. The fallen animals cry loudly. In response, their leader growls menacingly. Suddenly, the rest of the herd retreat, as if giving way. Chen gets ready. It looks like the big guy has finally decided to join the fun. Rain has started to fall, just as the herd's leader finally makes its appearance. It starts to inhale deeply. Chen doesn't feel good about this. He orders everyone to get out of the way. They do it in the nick of time, just as the monstrous bull lets out a scathing beam-like roar. It punches a hole through the rock wall, then slides upward, almost creating a divide on top. Just what kind of creature is this bull? One roar, and it effectively weakens his team. But this is no time to muse. They have to act fast. Chen orders everyone to take Big Big and run to the north while he takes its attention. The others agree, and they start to move. Chen faces the monster bull. It aims for a headbutt, which he takes directly. Even though Chen is strong enough not to get buried by the attack, the bull's strength is significantly more than his. Once the bull's head moves up, Chen runs towards the hole created earlier. The bull chases him and rams itself into the rock wall. At first, everyone thinks their king is already done for. In their eyes, there's no way anyone can escape that attack, not even their strong king. The monster bull then turns its attention on Yellowstone and others. Yellowstone makes a stand and declares that they'll poke its eye, even in death. To their surprise, a swinging axe comes out from the rock wall, injuring the bull. Their king is still alive. Chen has managed to hide in one of the crevices just before the bull could ram him. But Chen is bleeding in his head and is heavily injured. Regardless, they can't back down now. He gives only one instruction, and that is for Stonebone to wait for his signal. Chen starts his attack again, joined by the others. Yellowstone jumps up to the monster head, but he hits himself on its horn. Wolfbone throws his spear, which gets blocked by the creature's hand. Green Vine aims for the leg. The bull reaches for him. Just as he grabs Green Vine, Chen comes and kicks the bull in the face, releasing Green Vine and Yellowstone. The bull makes another beam roar. It almost hits Big Big, but Chen hits the bull with his axe. In that attack, he manages to create an open wound on its thick skin. He shouts to Stonebone and Stick to do it now. Stonebone orders everyone to aim at the wound. Spears rain on the bull, and one luckily lodges itself into the wound. The monster bull roars in pain. Then it falls to the ground. Everyone shouts for joy as they finally defeat the big boss. However, Chen is not confident. Something feels wrong, especially with the rest of the herd still looking at them. Chen feels a chill behind him. The monster bull is awake, more furious and terrifying than ever. It punches Chen into the rock wall, while it sends the others flying away with its stomp. For the third time, it releases another beam-like roar. Chen is tired, bleeding, and heavily injured. He starts thinking he has been careless in this fight. He sees the bull pull out the spear from its wound. Without warning, it throws the spear at him. He feels paralyzed, as if the weapon has already hit him. Is this how it will end for him? A whirl of movement at the side catches his eye. He gets pushed back, then he hears the spear piercing through the flesh. The next thing he knows, Big Big is on the ground, unconscious. She has taken the spear that was intended for him. All memories of Big Big flood Chen's mind. He has no romantic interest in her, but he truly appreciates her kindness and her unwavering loyalty for him. Something snaps inside of him. Mysterious glowing symbols materialize on his arm holding the axe. Red prompts appear around him, warning him that the system has detected a power overload, but he doesn't care. He makes a big swing of his axe, creating a slashing path that cuts through the ground, including the monster bull. With a huge swing of his axe, Chen cleanly cuts the monster bull in half. Unless it's an immortal super creature, there's no way the bull can come back to life. Chen turns to the rest of the herd. He calmly asks who's next. In response, the bulls scatter away, crying in fear, their red marking turning back to blue. That's when Chen finally lets go. His axe falls to the ground, and he starts coughing blood. Wolfbone comes to help him. In the distance, he can see Green Vine looking after Big Big, who is still unconscious. His vision starts to blur, and their shouts of "My king" sound distant in his ears. The system warns him that his life is in danger. He retrieves the hemostatic ointment from the system's storage, before succumbing to unconsciousness. When he wakes up, he finds himself lying on the lap of Ayu. He thinks they're inside the pigsty, but Ayu clarifies that this shelter was specifically built for his recovery. She then informs him of the aftermath of the hunt. After the bulls were driven away, the tribe immediately moved to the new location and started to settle. Green Vine was heavily injured, but he recovered quickly. He has been standing guard outside since then. Big Big's wounds were more fatal, but thanks to the king's divine medicine, presumably the hemostatic ointment, the wounds were treated soon. As long as she rests more, she's going to recover. Chen heaves a deep sigh of relief. Thank goodness he didn't lose anyone in the fight. Ayu agrees, saying everyone's injuries have healed over the past 4 days. Chen gets shocked at this. He checks the system. Indeed, only 11 days are left for him to succeed in his mission. While he contemplates, Ayu wonders why their king often stares into space. Chen tries to move, but his right arm hurts like hell. There's no time to waste. He tells her to call Stonebone. Just tell him he's awake and nothing about his injuries. Ayu obliges. Stonebone is happy to hear his king again. After receiving his orders, Stonebone happily walks away to fulfill them. Next, Chen calls Green Vine. He asks the latter to retrieve the bones and the hides of the Black Bull King, making sure the hides are intact. As a reward, he lends in his axe. Green Vine is so happy to receive the divine weapon from the king. He walks away to fulfill his tasks. Lastly, Chen calls Ayu again. He has a very important mission for her. Immediately, Ayu undresses, which scares Chen. That's not what he means by important mission. Once Ayu dresses, Chen becomes serious again. He wants her to stage an act. He finds her the suitable person to negotiate with the Coconut Grove clan. Their goal is to persuade them to join their tribe and follow his commands, but the said clan has more people than them. Will they agree to assimilating to their tribe? Chen answers that they must show their strength to convince them that assimilation is the right choice. Ayu is the perfect person for this role for 2 reasons. First, since the leader of the Coconut Grove clan is a female, Ayu can communicate better with them, and second, only Ayu can know about his true condition. If the word goes out that he, the king of their tribe, is heavily injured, it will tarnish their reputation. This may lead to negatively impacting the assimilation, and ultimately, Chen will fail his mission. Fortunately, Ayu is quick-witted. She easily understands that they're going to intimidate the Coconut Grove clan with a bluff. She's happy to know that the king trusts her with this mission. She assures him that she knows what she will do. Ayu and Seeker walk the path that leads to the eastern forest. The Coconut Grove clan is known for disliking conflicts, but Seeker believes it's best for everyone not to provoke the clan, especially the queen. Ayu nods, understanding the weight of her role. She assures Seeker that he can leave the rest of the negotiations with her. She's dressed in a fur coat and wears a horn tiara, evidently to make her look like a dignified ambassador. Soon, they reach the borders of the clan's territory. They hide among the bushes, observing the members of the clan. In the pool beneath the waterfall, women are enjoying their bath. Seeker points to the regal, green-haired lady scrubbing her arms. She's the formidable queen of the Coconut Grove clan. Ayu and Seeker are so mesmerized by her beauty that they don't notice the sentries standing behind them. They get caught and presented to the queen. The sentries introduce them as something foul, which Seeker passionately corrects. They're the ambassadors of their tribe, not just simple people. The queen lets out a soft sound, which dazzles Ayu again. But her daydreams get ruined when the queen orders her soldiers to make her a slave. Seeker is food for fish, and their meat is the clan's dinner. Ayu quickly thinks. She says she expected the queen to be more intuitive, but it looks like she's mistaken. Now the mountain of meat reserved for the queen's clan will go to the Bay clan. At this, the queen's ears perk up. In this era, food is a valuable resource that cannot be simply ignored. Ayu continues to say that the meat is from the herd of black bulls living near the river. At first, the queen thinks the tribe wants to join forces with them to hunt the bulls, but Ayu smirks at her. The land now belongs to them after subduing the herd. Suddenly, there seems to be great pressure between the two women, especially between their chests. Meanwhile, the others overhear Ayu and refuse to believe her. They almost got trampled before, it's just impossible to defeat the herd. But Ayu challenges them, saying that their king has defeated even the herd's big boss. If they don't believe her, they should come and see. It's reasonable for the clan to think this is a trap, but Seeker pipes in to confirm what Ayu said. He also clarifies they're not there to fight, but to deliver their king's invitation. As a final touch, Ayu challenges the queen's pride by asking another person to come instead of her. The queen considers, and she decides to see it for herself. With Ayu and Seeker leading the way, they eventually reach the tribe's settlement. The strong men led by Stone Bone are busy building their house. He also says that the king is waiting by the riverbank. The queen's entourage proceeds there, all while thinking about the meaning of the word house. When they reach the riverbank, they see an impressive structure with large horns on top. The queen's bravado falters after sensing the animalistic intent coming from there. Chen is dressed like a barbarian, with a headdress made of horns and a coat made from the king bull's hide. His right arm is covered in bull leather, giving him the appearance of a formidable leader. But destroying this impression is a thud coming from the nearby shelter. Big, Yellow Stone, and Green Vine, all still injured, are hiding there, as per Chen's instructions. Chen tries to get the queen's attention. He points them to the shed where they can find their share of meat. The entourage looks shocked, as they're looking at a literal mountain of meat. Tensions arise between the soldiers checking if it's real and Wolfbone and Black Boar cutting up the parts. Just then, an axe comes flying between them, cleanly cutting a huge slab of meat. The queen of the Coconut Grove is alarmed at seeing an unfamiliar weapon lodged in the meat. It looks far superior than their ironwood branches and bone knives. Chen tells Wolfbone to use his axe to cut the meat up and stop asking questions. While waiting for the meat partition, Chen promises the queen that they can take the meat with no problem. He keeps his word, a principle he follows. The queen is curious about how they've conquered the herd, but Chen is being coy about it. It depends on future developments whether he'll reveal his secret or not. After a few more minutes, Chen calls it a day. He sends the queen back to their territory. It seems like everything is going smoothly, but his axe throw has caused his wounds to open. Blood starts trickling down on the throne. He quickly hides it. Ayu, noticing her king's discomfort, quickly engages the queen to avoid suspicion. She offers stone axes as gifts. But the prideful queen refuses them, saying they also have powerful weapons they chose not to show. Ayu maintains the relations open and peaceful, inviting them to come back and have more meat if they run out of it. And with that, the queen leads her entourage out of the settlement. A few meters away, she asks about the investigation. 3 sentries jump out of trees to give their report. They confirm that the tribe is building something called a house. In one of the shelters, boar cubs are kept. This amazes the queen, as she has never heard of providing a good dwelling for the boars. The sentries also report about the tribe's mastery of fire. Tribe members were observed to create fire out of thin air and use it to roast their meat. This pisses the queen, as it seems like the tribe is far more advanced and has more resources than her clan. Lastly, they report about the lack of people, and yet they're managing to accomplish these feats. The sentries were not able to go closer, as the trees nearby had been cut down. Going further risks exposing themselves. The queen is quiet for a while. Then she brings her thorned whip out and lashes at the sentries. This unsatisfactory report should never be given to someone as elegant as her. If they do so again, the punishment won't be as simple as whipping. The sentries bow down to thank the queen for not banishing them. Back in the settlement, Chen lets out a sigh of relief. Ayu checks on him and his injury. He says the leather has strong regenerative abilities. His wound should heal soon. When he looks up, he sees a blue prompt above Ayu's head. Her talent is eloquence. This is a rare commodity in diplomacy that can be used to easily turn tides in their favor. He instructs Ayu to let those guys in hiding come out and to continue assisting him on his recovery. He also leaves the cleaning of the blood to her. Ayu is happy to do them all. Before leaving, she tells Chen how cool he looks right now, which makes him blush profusely. Chen meets with Seeker, who has come back from a short mission. As expected, the queen of the Coconut Grove clan has left sentries to observe their tribe, but Seeker assures Chen that the sentries only saw what they wanted them to see and never saw what they intended to hide. Stonebone asks if the Coconut Grove clan will really join them voluntarily. Chen admits it's too early to tell. They've only done the first half of the plan. With that said, they should get ready for the second half. It's been a long day. Chen lies inside his hut to rest for a bit, but his mind is still working over what he can do to finish the mission in time. The biggest part of the mission is to grow the tribe's population. 11 days is just not enough, but he believes that, with careful and proper planning, he can achieve his goals. He decides to check his inventory. In the system map, he can see that they are now occupying a portion of the land. On the other hand, he still has hemostatic ointment that's good for only one use and a small bag of salt. Just then, a prompt appears informing him that his axe has now been upgraded as the Axe of Pangu. When he checks the details, he finds the weapon is now considered legendary. Its attribute is Earth, and its activation condition is Blood Sacrifice. Its hidden skill: after releasing the power to create the world, the weapon will drain the user's stamina to deal damage, with destructive power relative to the user's remaining stamina. Chen remembers that during his fight with the King Bull, his blood had dripped over the axe. Perhaps it was what activated the axe's latent powers. Upon understanding the weapon's new skill, he realizes he should be careful with the timing of using it. He could lose his arm if he's careless. Nevertheless, it surprises him to know that weapons are meant to evolve. He goes back to thinking about his mission. The meat he gave to the Coconut Grove clan should be enough for 2 days. Within that time span, he must do something to set things in motion. With that, he calls Seeker for a new mission. The little guy bows down to his king. Chen tells him to search for the black bulls they drove away after the fight, and to come back and report to him within 2 days. Seeker gets up and sets on his task. It will be a long wait, so Chen decides to create some gifts for his people. 2 days have passed. Chen expects Seeker to have arrived. In the meantime, he has crafted stone spearheads, a bone whistle, and a bullhorn water flask, which all added points to his technology attribute. The spearhead will improve their weapons should they end up in a conflict with the Coconut Grove clan. The bone whistle is his gift to Stonebone, so the latter can easily give his orders, and the flask will be given to Seeker. Ayu enters his hut, excited about some good news. The house has finally been built, but before he can go out to see it, Ayu makes sure to put on his cloak so he'll look cool. They both act like a couple. Perhaps Ayu is Chen's chosen queen. When they come out, Stonebone excitedly presents to him the house built according to Chen's instructions. The house looks sturdy, but its architecture has little left to be desired. Regardless, that's a big accomplishment towards their settlement. Chen gains 10 points for successfully building a wooden house. As of late, his total technology attribute is 27 points. Chen realizes something. He also gained 10 points when he taught the tribe how to create fire. Now that he thinks about it, the tribe has really come a long way since he arrived. From being barbarians with no knowledge of fire at all, to building their houses, the tribe has really undergone evolution. In a way, the system may have put him there to help the tribe accelerate their development. This is a realization that feels very precious in this era. For now, they should go back to building more houses, since they must expect more people to settle with them in a few days. Just then, Seeker finally arrives. He's found where the rest of the horde is. That's good news. He gathers Seeker and Stonebone to discuss the next half of their plan. After hearing it, Stonebone is a bit skeptical if it will work, but Seeker assures him that he can handle the task. Pleased, Chen gives them their gifts as appreciation for their contribution. He reminds them that as soon as they see his signal, they must act accordingly. It's time to execute the most important part of the plan. Chen is worried about using the injured people to do other tasks. But he has no choice since their manpower is already stretched thin. He instructs Ayu to tell Big and Yellowstone to create a bonfire in front of the wooden house. But they shouldn't light it yet. It's all part of his preparation to lure the big fish. Later, one of the women sees the Coconut Grove clan marching towards their settlement. She immediately runs to her king to inform him about this development. Currently, Ayu is cleaning Chen's wounds. It has healed, but he should take it easy for a few more days. Chen really appreciates Ayu's caring nature. It's been a long time since someone took care of him. With the queen of the Coconut Grove clan joining his tribe, it would be bliss to be taken care of by these two lovely ladies. They receive word about their guest's arrival. It's to work. Ayu welcomes them back, offering praise for the queen. She shows them the newly built wooden house where the king is expecting her. The queen is amazed. The little thatch they saw before is now this big. How did they do it? The queen changes her stance. She implies that the king may be afraid to come out and see her. She brought most of her clan to take more meat, and for them to get to know their neighbors. Ayu gracefully replies that the meat intended for them has already been prepared. If they can't take it all, they are very welcome to stay and eat. The queen tries to poach Ayu into her ranks, but the latter refuses, saying she's already conquered by her king. With that, she gestures to the queen to enter the house. Chen has been waiting for her. He can already see that she's impressed with the spacious interior. He says this is just temporary. They plan to build a bigger one, which they will call a palace. Then the rest of the tribe can live here. Without warning, the queen brings out her thorned whip and wraps it around Chen. Then she secures him with her foot on his shoulder. She seduces him, saying no one understands men more than her. She has a lot of ways to make him willingly offer these things to her. In her mind, this intimidation should be enough. In truth, Chen is so rightfully stimulated by the queen's advances. But Chen maintains his straight face, saying he has a backup plan for whatever the queen intends to do. At that point, Ayu enters to tell them they can start the feast. The queen looks pissed about being disturbed, and Chen looks like he's about to give up self-control. Ayu remains unfazed. Gathering his wits, Chen decides it's time for the feast. He gets up to join his tribe. The queen is perplexed about Chen's indifference, as if he's never affected by her coercion. She starts to think differently of him. The bonfire is lit, and the food is distributed. Chen also offers his bag of salt to enhance the meat's flavor. Everyone seems to be having a good time, including the queen. Meanwhile, in another location, Stonebone and the others patiently wait for the king's signal while they watch the small herd of black bulls. They are still unsure about what they're supposed to do, but they'll follow the king's order. Once they see the smoke from their settlement, they begin provoking the animals. The creatures start running, and Stonebone shouts at Seeker that they are heading his way. Seeker lets the bulls run past him until he spots the new leader. He jumps onto its back and stabs it, claiming it as his. The bulls are stubborn in getting away from danger, but Seeker is more stubborn in refusing to let go of his catch. The herd's leader continues its attempt to dislodge the human on its back, but Seeker firmly holds on. From the trees, Stick notices the bulls are not going in the right direction. So Stonebone uses his whistle to signal Seeker that they should turn to the right. With all of his strength, Seeker drives the bull in the right direction, unlocking his skill right in the process. It's a success. Now they just allow the bulls to stomp their way into the target location. Meanwhile, Chen is anxiously waiting. The queen and her Coconut Grove clan are all savoring their food, oblivious to what's about to happen. Chen thinks it's about time. Just then, a sentry of the clan runs frantically towards the queen. She reports about the herd of mad black bulls wreaking havoc on their tribe. Immediately, the queen and her warriors stand up to defend their home. She can't fathom why the bulls would suddenly attack her home, and she made sure they wouldn't get in these beasts' way. And yet, as they reach their tribe, they see the place already ravaged by these bulls. The warriors left continue to attack using their slingshots, but they are nothing against the animal's thick hide. One of the bulls swipes at the warriors, injuring almost everyone. Then, just as it's about to stomp on an injured one, the queen lashes out her thorn whip and throws the bull with it. The queen has strength and can fight when it's necessary. But for all of her strength, she's not better equipped to handle a raging bull. The animal retaliates, critically hitting the queen. Fortunately, Chen and his tribe arrive just in time to see what's happening. He catches the queen before she touches the ground. Chen shows care for her, while his men pretend to be innocent in this interaction. He looks at the bull that is about to attack again. With him wearing the previous herd leader's cloak, it should be enough for Chen to intimidate the animal. Fortunately, it works. In a show of chivalry, he orders his men to restrain the animals. The queen wants to join as well. She feels the need to protect her clan until the herd is properly dispersed. And this is when Chen strikes that hot iron. He points out that it will be dangerous for her or her warriors to face the bulls head-on. He offers her a place at his tribe, where the injured warriors can recuperate and wait for the right time to reclaim the lands. He has enough food and shelter to offer, and he promises to ensure everyone's safety. Ayu, who fully knows her king's plan, chimes in and points out the queen's injured people and their destroyed home. Does she want their sacrifice to be in vain? The queen's face darkens. She's not foolish enough to realize that there's a plot going on. But this is no time for her pride. She must prioritize the well-being of her clan. She calls to her people, telling them to bring the wounded and retreat to the north. The warriors, despite their wounded pride, follow the queen's orders. The injured ones are prioritized, and with Ayu caring for the queen and leading them, they head back to the tribe up north. Chen and his men stay, along with a few Coconut Grove warriors strong enough to face the bulls. It's already sundown when Ayu and the rest reach the tribe. One of the women guides them to the huts that are newly finished. Inwardly, she's thankful that Big Big and the others have managed to finish the king's orders despite being injured. Once the queen and the injured are settled, others are led to get food and water. Ayu gives her word to the queen that she'll ensure her people's safety, so she must focus on rest and recovery. The queen's mood is still unreadable, but at least Ayu is relieved that everything has gone according to the king's plan. The herding of the bulls towards the Coconut Grove clan while they are having a feast is a very risky move, but it turns out well in the end. The next day, Chen and his men return to their camp. He doesn't waste time as he asks Big Big to call the queen into his dwelling. Chen is looking at his current quest. He only has 8 more days to increase the tribe's population. He has managed to convince the Coconut Grove clan to settle with them, but to ask them to submit to his rule will be a different story. The queen is an important piece to make this successful. The queen arrives, still weak from the previous fight, but remains to be proud. Ayu has already told her about the tribe merger, and her answer is a resounding no. She'll never submit to a tribe that will force them while they're at their weakest. Chen remains calm and refutes the queen's ideas. He simply wants to propose a trade. He can share with them the knowledge of building houses, creating more powerful weapons, and making fire out of nothing. He will only ask one thing in return, for the Coconut Grove clan to accept him as their king and stay under his rule. It's quite simple when pride and cunning are not involved. Chen reiterates that because of the recent attack of the Black Bulls, the Coconut Grove clan remains vulnerable to the attack of the Bay clan and the Stone clan. They'll be easy prey. The queen begs him to be quiet. She is well aware of her clan's position. After weighing her options, she tells Chen that the only way for her clan to submit to his rule is if he defeats them in a duel. Chen wickedly smiles. Of course, he says, he accepts this challenge. They come out to see the people waiting for their leader's decision. Chen announces that he has accepted the Coconut Grove clan's challenge in a duel. But since the queen is still injured, and to ensure fairness, he will not participate either. Therefore, he assigns Stone Bone to be his representative. As for the queen, she chooses her best warrior, Yun. It's the warrior who stayed with them in fighting the bulls. Finally, the duel starts. Soon, it becomes apparent that Yun has made a plan with others to take over the tribe and end the king. Stone Bone gets wind of this. He tries to protect the king, but his move has left a spot open for Yun to attack Chen. Will she be successful? Chen braces for the attack. Thankfully, Stick has his back, who accurately throws a spear, immediately subduing Yun. All warriors of the Coconut Grove clan become alert as they see their comrade fall. They believe this tribe merger is a fraud, and they're ready to defend their independence from them. Chen looks stoic on the outside, but he's panicking on the inside. He did anticipate a duel to show dominance, but he didn't prepare for an assassination. Thank goodness Stone Bone and Stick have their wits with them. Did the queen plan this with her warriors? If worst comes to worst, he has to take the queen hostage. To his surprise, the queen berates her subjects. It's despicable to treat the tribe that welcomed them into their homes and treated their wounds in this pathetic manner. There's no point finding out who plotted this or continuing the challenge. This duel is the Coconut Grove clan's loss. The queen turns to Chen and explains that Ah Yun is her most loyal warrior. She kneels in front of him and begs him to heal Ah Yun. Chen is already celebrating inside, but he remains serious. He says they're all allies now, despite what happened. He gives a small portion of the hemostatic to keep Ah Yun alive, and so he can use the remaining in emergencies. Immediately, the warriors see the effect of the potion in healing the wound. At that moment, they regard Chen as a god capable of doing miracles. Then Chen asks the queen if their tribes are finally merged. The queen says yes, which makes Chen laugh with glee. He tells her that she can still lead her people as long as they obey him as their king. But the queen has a final request. She asks him to be his partner in a grand ceremony to formalize their union. Chen's imagination immediately goes into an overdrive, creating a complete and happy lifetime ahead of them. He only returns to reality when the queen is uncertain if he likes to have a ceremony. Of course, says Chen, and he hugs her tight. Then he addresses their people and announces their upcoming grand wedding in a few days. A prompt appears in front, informing him that he has officially established his tribe. He reviews his statistics, but he's confused about the population. There's only 46 people in the tribe, 4 less than the required number for his mission. Regardless, the system requires him to name his new tribe. And so, Chen Liyi, as the king, names his tribe Newbie Tribe. He continues to think about how he can complete the population requirement. He doesn't notice that the queen is getting confused by his actions. Ah Yun has to lead her away, explaining that there are times when their king suddenly gazes into space without warning, but she'll get used to it. Chen considers capturing prisoners to meet the population requirement, but he's not sure if the system will accept it. What brings him back to reality are the whispers of some women from the previous Coconut Grove clan. He hears them say that it's better for him to look like a fool. After all, when he gets married to the queen, he'll be cut into pieces and get devoured slowly. Chen's imagination goes into overdrive again as he pictures himself getting consumed by the queen. Is this why there are no men in their clan? In his reverie, he doesn't notice Big Big approaching him. Her big stature scares poor Chen. Once he gets over his foolishness, he asks Big Big about what she's doing there. Big Big admits that he doesn't like the idea of her king getting married to the previous Coconut Grove clan's queen, whom she finds rude. Chen starts to think it's not a good idea too. He's already considering breaking their engagement. Ayu finds Big Big and pulls her away, reminding her that she's supposed to be resting. As she gets dragged away, Big Big cries that the king must consider marrying her instead. She does have a huge crush on the king. The next day, as soon as he wakes up, Chen prioritizes talking to the queen to break off their engagement. It's not worth it to get married to a beautiful and voluptuous woman like her, only to get eaten in the end. He visits the area occupied by the Coconut Grove clan. The women correctly assume the king is there to see their queen, so they direct him towards the river bay. There he finds the queen taking a bath, surrounded by her assistants. The queen tells them to leave so she can talk privately to Chen. Chen inquires about her injuries, to which she says they're healing quickly. In 2 days, it'll be gone. She teases Chen about his presence there. Perhaps he wants to check them for himself. Chen gets flustered and says there's no need. He's just there to know her name. The queen chuckles and reveals that her name is Little Cove, that was given to her by the former queen before getting exiled. Chen inwardly laments about the fact that, if he won't be eaten, he'll be exiled once he marries Little Cove. The Coconut Grove clan should have been named the Praying Mantis clan instead. He inquires about the previous queen's partner. Little Cove cheerily says they've all been eaten. It's a tradition for the queen to eat her partner, as it gives them more power. She clarifies, however, that she has no plans to follow the tradition. She finds it inelegant, to be honest. She hasn't eaten anyone, as she's only become queen recently. Chen gives a huge sigh of relief. Well, the wedding will push through then. Little Ko gives him a warning though. While she doesn't practice cannibalism, she won't hesitate to cut off any excess body parts from those who wronged her. Chen gets horrified and vows to never betray Little Cove. Now that that concern is settled, it's time to focus on his main mission about settlement. There are only 7 days left, so he needs to act fast. He calls Stone Bone and informs him that he'll be out for a while. Stone Bone will take temporary leadership, but in case of emergencies, he can send someone to find him at the beach to the south. Stone Bone confirms he understood the instruction. Thus, Chen starts his journey southward, but he doesn't expect what he sees there. It's a massacre. Corpses of the members of the Bay clan littered the serene beach. What the hell happened there? Had they been wiped out? Chen comes down to inspect the scene. He observes the dodo birds, normally prey for the Bei clan, now running freely along the coast. Chen notices that there's no stench yet, and the bodies still retain elasticity. This implies that whatever fight had happened here occurred just recently. He looks at the claw marks and compares them with their claws, which seem to match each other. He remembers that the Bei clan is inclined to have infighting, but he doesn't expect it to be this bad. He sees another corpse brought by the waves. This one has no physical injuries, but the face shows an agonized expression that suggests a slow demise. There are seaweeds entangled in its claws, implying that it may have tried hiding underwater, yet it's still choked. But how can that be when the Bei clan is supposed to be accustomed to water? Someone calls Chen. It's Seeker, and he's there to warn him about the Bei clan attacking their tribe. Without wasting time, the two rush back to their home. In the newbie tribe, Stonebone and the others prepare as the members of the Bei clan slowly emerge from the river. There's a crazed look on their faces, and they don't seem to mind the spears injuring their bodies. Stonebone warns everyone to be careful and not allow these creatures to drive them into the river because that's their turf. With their eyes bright red, the Bei clan charges. The warriors of the Coconut Grove use their slingshots to distract and slow the enemy's movements. Then Stonebone and the others strike with their spears. Little Cove arrives, wondering why the Bei clan is suddenly attacking. She also points out their strangeness. They look more feral than before, like they don't listen to reason at all. Stonebone has no idea whatsoever. What's important now is that they must defend their tribe from their attackers. And so, the newbie tribe combine their forces to take down their enemies. Little Cove tries to talk to her captured enemy, but she might as well talk to a feral animal. At one point, a larger grayish Bei clan member is about to swipe at Little Clove. Just in time, Chen arrives to save her from danger. He asks her to step back before he swings his axe, but the creature easily blocks his attack. Chen pauses, thinking that this creature has enough strength to parry his blow. Behind him, two more enemies creep up to attack him. As always, Stick and Greenvine protect him from behind. He tells Little Cove and everyone to take care of the weaklings, because he's going to take care of this gigantic monster. Chen attempts to tell the enemy that whoever attacked their clan, it is not them. They must be mistaken, as Chen's tribe is peaceful at best. However, the wild creature doesn't seem to understand him. It only goes for the offense, as if aiming to rip his body to pieces. The enemy has more power and faster reflexes. These combined with its sharp teeth and claws make Chen like a squishy damage dealer compared to it. He can't use his ultimate axe technique, as it will destroy his tribe. Chen is thinking too much. The enemy has managed to get past his defenses and bite his arm. He swings his axe upwards, causing the creature to step back, clutching with its teeth the piece ripped from his cloak. Chen is so relieved that the cloak made from the Bull King's hide is so sturdy. Otherwise, he would have lost his arm in just a bite. He looks at the creature, who seems to have become more savage than earlier. It attacks, and Chen manages to duck out of its way, letting it rip the cloak from him. He observes that it only gnaws on the part where his blood dropped. He looks around and sees that Black Boar is surrounded by more enemies than others. Then he finds the wounds on his body. That's it. These creatures are lured in by the scent of blood, and they act on their primitive instincts. They are like a predatory shark that has smelled blood. Chen calls Seeker and instructs him to bring 3 boar cubs from the pigsty. Once the animals are brought, they let them run towards the river. Stick spears the 3 cubs. The enemies instantly smell the scent of blood in the air. They lunge towards the poor cubs and ravage them. Chen instructs his men to prepare spearheads coated with their paralysis drug. However, before they can do anything else, they notice the enemies falling to the ground one by one, seemingly showing uncontrollable spasms. Foam also starts to form in their mouths. Seeker couldn't have poisoned the cubs in such a short time. So what in the world is going on? A few hours later, peace seems to have returned to the newbie tribe. The members of the Bei clan are all put inside the cages, guarded by the female warriors. They all lay unconscious inside their confinement, very different from their beastly versions earlier. Eventually, they all wake up one by one, and the first word out of their mouth is water. Chen is informed that their captives have awakened. Instinctively, he looks for the gray guy he fought earlier. He's also awake, and he's demanding water. Chen splashes him using his flask, but he doesn't use all of its content. He asks if the gray guy can understand him, to which the latter says yes. Chen calls Ayu to conduct the interview. Ayu gives him more water. The gray guy remembers his clan, and so he requests they should be given water as well. Ayu assures him they can fetch water for them, but first he needs to answer their questions. She smiles sweetly at him, but in truth, she's using kindness as a tactic to make him more pliable and open to answering her questions. The gray guy suddenly becomes agitated. He accuses Ayu and her tribe of launching an attack against them, only to ask a few questions. Ayu is confused, but she allows him to continue. He says he knows the giant stone clan is a group of strange people, but he never expected them to be this bizarre, selling them off to some faraway place. There seems to be a misunderstanding here. Ayu clarifies that they're not the giant stone clan, but the newbie tribe, headed by their king Chen Liyi. They have captured the Bei clan because the latter attacked their territory like frenzied beasts. They have no dealings with the giant stone clan, and they only want answers as to why the Bei clan suddenly went feral against them. The gray guy becomes more agitated, claiming he doesn't remember the attack. Ayu advises him to tell what he remembers, starting from the beginning. The gray guy introduces himself as Blackstone, and he's the leader of the Bei clan. They used to live peacefully along the southern coastline, hunting dodo birds and farming clams and seashells. Fighting within the clan was common, as it built camaraderie among them, but fights never got really serious. One day, a young member cried about his stolen dodo birds. He told Blackstone about this, saying it was those weirdos who stole his things. Blackstone looked towards the forest, and there he saw the stoic giant stone clan. The leader signaled for an attack. Then, the next thing Blackstone knows, he's captured inside this cage. Chen chimes in and informs Blackstone that there's no one left alive on their territory. The Bei clan would have been wiped out if Chen and his tribe did not decide to decimate them on the spot. Basically, everyone that the newbie tribe captured is all that remains of the Bei clan. Blackstone is devastated. How can this happen? He can't even protect his members from getting captured. As he sobs hard, something falls from his body. It's a brown thing that looks like a leaf. Chen asks the system to identify it. A few seconds later, a title card shows, indicating that what Chen holds is an industrial hemp. It's an herbaceous plant with a bitter taste used for pain-relieving potions, and its smoke can induce hallucinations. Suddenly, a foreboding feeling fills Chen as a terrible realization forms in his mind. After the interrogation, the women give the Bei clan members water for their consumption. Meanwhile, by Chen's orders, leaves of industrial hemp are collected from each of their captives. He remembers what Seeker said about the giant stone clan, that their leader can have some form of divine power. Now it's clear that this divine power is simply hallucinations that improve strength. Chen finally pieces together the clues to solve the mystery of the Bei clan. Upon inhaling the smoke from this plant, the Bei clan went berserk and turned against each other. Some of them might have figured out about the smoke, so they chose to get into the sea. Unfortunately, they didn't make it. Then, one way or another, the remaining members of the Bei clan traveled here to attack them. The bottom line is that the giant stone clan is the mastermind behind these incidents, and this shows that they are not to be taken lightly. They managed to execute a plan to eliminate 2 tribes at once without getting their hands dirty. They are able to find a way to manipulate Blackstone and use his strength for their purpose. In addition, if their main target is the newbie tribe, it can only mean that they see the tribe as a threat that needs to be dealt with as soon as possible. Chen checks his stats. At this point, he needs to add more to his strength, as well as reinforce his tribe. Ayu tells him she can't question Blackstone anymore because he's too distressed, but Chen says there's no time for that. Anytime, the giant stone clan may attack them. He explains to Ayu the basics of how the enemies managed to control the Bei clan and have them attack their tribe. He turns to Blackstone and asks if he can remember more from the smell of the leaves. Unfortunately, his memory is still vague. All he can recall is that the smell is mixed with other strange smells. Then Blackstone pleads with Chen Liyi to let them join in their revenge against the giant stone clan. He says he'll regret it if he doesn't do anything. The others also join his request. Blackstone adds that their sensitive sense of smell will be an asset in identifying those poisonous herbs. But that's exactly what worries Chen. Their sensitive sense of smell is indeed an asset, but also a liability. What if the enemies use the poisonous smoke again during the battle? Will the Bei clan be overpowered again and let their primal instincts take over? Chen understands Blackstone's need for revenge, but fueling it with anger will not help. He proposes to Blackstone that the Bei clan should assimilate to the newbie tribe and pledge their loyalty to him. That way, he can guarantee that they will get their revenge without falling for the enemy's tactics again. Without hesitation, Blackstone agrees and the others follow. With that resolved now, Chen instructs Ayu to release them from their cages, as they are companions from then on. Finally, Chen has managed to finish his mission for settlement. The total population of his tribe rises to 68. For this, he receives attribute points, a large chest, and a heritage plaque. And since he finished the mission earlier, he gets an extra surprise gift package. Of course, Chen puts all of his attribute points into strength. This makes him more formidable than ever. Chen can feel the surge of power as his strength attribute goes up. After his transformation, he notices that his hair has grown longer, perhaps a side effect of increasing his power. Next, he checks his rewards. Inside the large chest is 1 ton of iron ore. Now this makes things more exciting. If he can create temperatures above 1700 degrees Celsius, then he can essentially start metallurgy. This will rapidly increase his tribe's evolution. It's like skipping the Bronze Age and going straight into the Iron Age. Then he checks the surprise gift package. It contains 3 hemostatic ointments. Now he's really going to be unstoppable in his fight against the giant Stone clan. So far, his gifts are far better than the seasoning he received before. Lastly, he checks the heritage plaque. Its title card says the plaque contains a record of a specific legacy of a civilization. This means that once Chen unlocks the plaque's content, it will immediately take effect on his tribe, and that point will be recorded in time as the beginning of the civilization's heritage. How influential it will be will depend on people's intelligence at the time. Chen uses his technology points to unlock the plaque. Once he does, he finds out that it contains a sense of modesty. Chen is still unsure about what it does, but at least he won't worry about mixed-gender baths anymore. He doesn't like others to see Little Cove taking a bath. Now that everything's settled, he needs to start dealing with the threat from the giant Stone clan. Ayu runs to him. She notices his longer hair, as well as his taller stature and muscular physique. It seems like he physically evolves too, as his attributes go up. Anyway, Ayu volunteers to go to the giant Stone clan to make negotiations. But Chen doesn't allow her. There are no more misunderstandings this time, only the inevitable war between them and their tribe. It's important that they don't provoke them until they are fully prepared. For now, what needs to be done is to build their defenses and secure their food. To utilize the newcomers, they will be divided into 3 groups, one to help build houses, another to gather food, and the third for making traps. He explains to Ayu that traps can serve as their protection from incoming enemies. They should learn from their encounter with the Bei clan, who had easily attacked their territory. With different traps built for different terrains, they can protect themselves from future threats. But the building of traps is not Ayu's task. Instead, she will oversee others in the preparation of their food. With their population increase, they need to manage their food, especially the excess meat from the bulls. He teaches Ayu and others how to make beef jerky from them. It doesn't take long for the others to learn from Chen's teachings. The former members of the Bei clan are integrating well, and they are especially good with drying meat. Now that's done, Chen turns to Stone Bone for another important task. He assigns him to lead the setting of traps in strategic areas around their territory. He draws on the ground, illustrating the terrain where Stone Bone is supposed to create traps. But the important thing for him is not the creation, but remembering the locations of those traps. This is to ensure that they won't fail in case there's a traitor among them. Only he and Stone Bone should know about the location of the traps. This is Chen's way of showing his trust to his second in command. The concept of traps is still a bit harder for him to grasp, but Stone Bone is grateful for the trust Chen is giving him. He promises to live up to his expectations. Good, Chen says, for now they can afford to rest. Soon, they will start their preparations in case the giant Stone clan decides to attack. And the best time for them to work will be at night. Chen calls Greenvine to help him carry the heritage plaque in front of the tribe's main house. This is the perfect spot for everyone to see it. Then Chen tells his guard that he'll sleep for a while. He instructs him about Stone Bone coming later to see him. If anything urgent happens before that, he should wake him up. Inside, Chen lays down on his bed, exhausted for the day. He rarely has any time to rest, and now he must focus on developing his tribe further so they can defend themselves against the giant Stone clan. There are so many things to do: train soldiers, build defense structures, arrange patrol teams, develop technology, expand territory, and so on. This reprieve he has right now is precious, therefore he shouldn't waste it on too much thinking. He must sleep and rest. Chen closes his eyes, but when he opens them, he finds himself in a different but familiar place. It looks like he's inside a modern house, but he's surrounded by beautiful primitive women. Has he returned to the modern world? Chen celebrates as he realizes he doesn't have to worry anymore about upcoming fights and living in the wild. The women dote on him, giving him food and drinks. Later, he lays on the bed with a woman who nudges him to wake up. He moans as he says he can't do it anymore. When he looks at the person beside him, he sees that she has Stone Bone's face but the body of the woman. Chen screams loudly as he wakes up from his dreams, or rather nightmares. Stone Bone awkwardly tells the king that he's there as instructed earlier. But then Chen pulled him and started to flirt with him. Chen strongly clarifies that it's only a misunderstanding. Remembering the tasks to be done, he gets up and sets to work with Stone Bone. Later, Chen has successfully taught his men how to create spike traps. That's just one of the many that they're going to make around their territory. He explains the advantages of creating spike traps, especially when considering the size of their enemies. He also emphasizes that mixing and matching traps can maximize their efficiency. He turns to Stick and orders him to create a moving type of trap, similar to what he did back when he taught the others how to throw spears. It will be effective against unsuspecting enemies. He leaves Stone Bone in charge of the work. Before leaving, Chen discreetly reminds him about his other, more important task, remembering the trap's locations. The sun is about to rise when he returns to the tribe. He wonders why there are no people around. They should have woken up and started work. He tries to enter one of the women's quarters when he gets shouted at. They say they can't start the day unless they're properly dressed and covered. Chen realizes this must be the effect of the heritage plaque. He lets them off, but he reminds them to hurry. Just as he returns to his dwelling, Stone Bone runs to him. He seems excited as he shows him a new discovery while they were digging traps. He found 2 stones that, when rubbed together, can easily create sparks. Chen recognizes these stones as niter. This is such a brilliant discovery. If used right, they can create limitless and explosive possibilities. Chen asks Stone Bone to bring him to the place where he dug up the niter. Stone Bone brings him to a spot where there's a half-dug hole. Chen knows that niters can be found in arid regions, not in the middle of a forest, so he suspects something else may have caused the formation of these minerals. Shortly, Stone Bone unintentionally gives him the answer. Stone Bone goes down the hole to pick up the stones and other brown materials with it. His first instinct is to taste it. That's how he finds out that the brown material is dung. While Stone Bone violently barfs, Chen reflects on this discovery. The presence of organic waste buried in the soil indicates that another group of primitive humans may have settled here and created a large dung pit beneath. But this also means that those humans may be more intellectually advanced, as they have already grasped the concept of toilets. It's also possible that this place used to be an old lair of the giant stone clan. Regardless, this discovery will be helpful in the upcoming days. Still ignoring Stone Bone's dung torment, Chen orders him to collect the niter, then bury the pit again. More traps should be added nearby, and they must build beacon towers with assigned lookouts in higher places. With that, Chen leaves. 4 days later, there have been a lot of changes in the newbie tribe. More houses have been built for their people. Chen explains to Greenvine, who's escorting him during his rounds, that this is the first step in their tribe's foundation. Having a home, food, and clothing are the basic necessities in creating a good societal foundation. Once they're met, the next thing to do is... Chen doesn't finish what he's about to say as Big Big suddenly interrupts him. She looks like a bull charging towards him. She catches him, at the cost of destroying a house, and cuddles tightly with him. She reports that the 2 rows of wooden houses are already done. In 2 days, people can move into their permanent homes. Chen praises Big Big for a job well done. But of course, he doesn't let her off the hook after she love tackles him. He orders Big Big to fix the destroyed house. The next place Chen visits is the riverside, where people are curing meat. He can see that the Bay Clan members are more suited to securing food, rather than building and digging. Greenvine comments with adoration that all of these developments were because of him, their king. Later, Chen notices that smoke is coming out of their southern beacon tower. Have the enemies arrived at their territory? Chen rushes to get to the southern beacon tower as fast as he can. Even with the knowledge of the trap's location and higher agility points, it will still take him 5 minutes to reach his destination. He can only hope nothing bad will happen in that time. Right in front of his post, Stick remains vigilant. He's seen one of their traps triggered, but he hasn't verified what was caught. He assumes the enemies have already infiltrated their territory. He hopes that they haven't noticed the fire yet. He decides that before they can spot him, he should spot them first. Stick runs towards the area of the triggered trap. Once he gets near, he hears the bushes rustling. Is it an ambush? Stick throws his spear towards the rustle. To his surprise, the spear is thrown back to him. He only has time to deflect the weapon when someone jumps out of the bushes and attacks him. It turns out it's Chen. Apparently, he also thinks he's being ambushed. Stick explains that he's the one who lit the beacon tower because of the triggered trap. Chen tells him to stay and meet the others who have taken the safe route. He'll go alone to check. He comes closer to the trap. He sees the lone figure dangling from a tree branch. However, he finds it suspicious that there is no other presence within the area. He walks over there to take a look, and indeed he does take a good look. It's fortunate that he told Stick to stay further, or else he and the others will see Little Cove in a very uncompromising position. For it is the former Coconut Grove Queen who got caught in their trap. Chen is surprised. As far as he knows, she's supposed to be resting. But here she is, exposing what shouldn't be exposed. She even has the gall to get annoyed with him. Chen takes his time to tease her, then he lets her down just as Stick and others arrive. Chen warns them not to come closer or their lives will be in danger. Well, if Little Cove gets really mad, Stonebone and Stick worry about their king. But from Chen's voice, it doesn't seem like he's in any real danger. Stonebone has this wild idea that perhaps their king is taking a dump. Lately, he himself couldn't seem to attend to personal matters in front of everyone, and the women would avoid the men when they take a bath. It's like they can't do the things they usually do anymore, and he can't put a finger on it. Stick can only agree. Back to Chen, he asks Little Cove about why she's here. Little Cove says she overheard some people from the Bay clan talking about food. They want to catch fish and seashells by the seaside, as these foods will give them more energy. However, the path is blocked by a pack of hyenas. So Little Cove tried to help, but she unfortunately got caught by the trap. Chen says he has walked the path many times and he hasn't encountered a hyena. Regardless, this concern brings up an important point. This incident emphasizes their need for security patrols, as well as an outpost by the beach. Not only can they farm seafood, but they can catch those dodo birds that can provide them with eggs. With another idea, Chen decides it's time to deal with those hyenas. Little Cove offers to set up the patrol teams and the sentries if that's what Chen wants. As for dealing with the hyenas and expanding their territory, he may want to reconsider. She is concerned that guarding two territories, their tribe and the sea outpost, will not be a good idea considering their small population. In addition, the beach has been attacked by the giant Stone clan. What if they attack again? Chen reasons that it's because the beach has been attacked, it's relatively safe, at least for now. As long as they maintain a good exchange of goods and information between their two territories, support can be given anytime. Besides, they now know that the giant Stone clan can use that poisonous smoke to put them under control. Living in one place can make them an easy target. Little Cove is still unsure, but because Chen has already decided, she can only support him. Later, Chen and his men raid the area where the hyenas were supposed to appear. At first, everything seems quiet. Then, a particularly large hyena jumps out of the bushes. Blackstone immediately grabs the animal and tosses it aside. Soon, its pack appears and surrounds them. Chen watches as the Bay clan fights against the hyenas. This is the best opportunity to observe their strength without the influence of the hallucinogenic smoke. But of course, he gets a little bit of action when one hyena jumps at him. Chen easily grabs it by the neck and tosses it aside. Eventually, the hyenas leave them. With Blackstone a bit dismayed about the disappointing enemies, the group proceeds towards the beach. The place looks calm and clean. Perhaps the corpses have been washed away by the sea. Chen points at the cliff nearby. He tells Blackstone that the beacon tower will be built there, while the outpost will be built a little closer. The outpost should house at least 20 people. He also adds the creation of a small salt field where they can make salt. Chen promises to teach him the process later. Blackstone takes note of all the instructions. Chen feels like a foreman giving instructions at a construction site. He remembers that back in the modern world, he was not a foreman, but one of the laborers. With things settled by the beach, Chen returns to his tribe. 3 days later, everything seems to be going smoothly. Chen has managed to create a wooden bow, adding 5 points to his technology attributes. Just then, Ayu informs him that Seeker has finally returned. Chen has sent Seeker to the north to look for human tribes they can conquer or ally with. So far, Seeker hasn't spotted any significant group. He reports about the lake he found in the snow-capped mountain not far away. A strange creature seemed to be living in the lake, but Seeker wasn't able to come near it. He also says he did not go to check the snow-capped mountains. Chen asks why. Suddenly, Seeker becomes afraid. It's Ayu who says the reason. The snow is not the scary part, but what lurks within the mountains, the giants. It's clear that Ayu and Seeker know what giants are, and they are rightfully scared of them. Suddenly, a prompt appears showing Chen a new side quest. It's chained, meaning this is the first of a series of quests involving giants. His mission is to see a giant with his own eyes. There's no time limit, and if he succeeds, he'll get 1 attribute point. This makes Chen curious. Back when he had to drive away a saber-tooth as a side quest, he was rewarded with 2 points. Now he only gets 1 point just to see one. It should suffice if he sees his sleeping giant. No need to approach it or anything. On the other hand, it's possible that giants have a tribe of their own. If luck favors him, he can turn them into allies when they face the giant stone clan. But he needs to be careful with diplomacy because if things go wrong, it will mean the annihilation of his tribe. Chen turns to Seeker and praises him for a job well done. He tells the little guy he can go and rest so he can participate in the banquet in 2 days. Seeker takes his day off, but he's still shaking with the thoughts of giants. Ayu is concerned as well. She thinks Seeker is just nervous. But Chen doesn't think that way. He understands that Seeker's perception of danger exceeds that of everyone else, making him sensitive and more suitable for exploration. Chen checks with Ayu about the preparation for the partner ceremony. She says everything is in order. Good, Chen says. He requests her to prepare travel things for 4 people, like food, water flasks, and warm clothes. He intends to take a little expedition after the banquet, and he'll take 4 people with him. He says he just wants to explore the nearby area, so there's no need to worry. On a side note, he's impressed with the clothes created by his tribe. He wants Ayu to express his gratitude to Skinny, the one who reproposed the cow hides as their clothing. 2 days later, Chen creates the hardwood shield. This should be a good addition to their warrior's arsenal. Ayu knocks on the door. She excitedly shows Chen the new cloak he'll wear for the ceremony. That day, the newbie tribe witnesses their very first partner ceremony. Their king Chen Liyi will tie the knot with Little Cove, the former queen of the Coconut Grove clan. As he walks towards his bride, Chen reflects that this is just like a wedding in the modern world. In his old life, he was still striving just to make ends meet. But here, he has his own tribe, his own people, and a beautiful wife with whom he can lead the tribe. This is like a dream come true that has totally changed his life. In this world, he finally felt the sense of belonging he craved before. Once the ceremony is fulfilled, Chen announces to everyone that Little Cove is now the queen of the newbie tribe. Everybody cheers. Among the audience, big cries. She admits that even though she wants the king for herself, she feels happy for both of them. The banquet lasts for the whole day and extends until the night. Eventually, Chen decides it's time to spend the rest of the night with his wife. He anticipates the surprises Little Cove has for him. However, when he enters the main house, he sees his wife sitting on the throne. Her whole aura looks like someone is about to die, and she has her whip ready in her hand. Chen starts regretting the upgrade he did to her whip. But Little Cove mentions the reason for her bad mood. They just got married, and now he'll go away on an expedition without her. Understandably, she's mad. Chen sighs in relief. He has no choice but to explain his reason for going away. A little while later, Little Cove understands her husband's intention. Even though she wants to come with him, Chen has decided she should stay. Besides, he wants her to do an important task. He gives her a stone sling. He'll show her how to use it properly. Chen wants her to train her people on how to use it, so they'll be prepared when he comes back. Chen starts his exploration. With him are Stick, Blackstone, and Yun. It's a good selection, however, he can't shake the feeling that Yun is looking daggers at him. He remembers his conversation with his wife last time. Chen told her he intended to bring Blackstone because of his fighting prowess, and Stick was a dependable warrior. But Little Cove insisted on him bringing Yun, as she's the fiercest and most loyal warrior of the Coconut Grove clan. Her injuries were already healed since her failed attempt to assassinate him, and Little Cove had already punished her. The queen would feel safe if Yun joined his expedition party. Since this is his wife's request, Chen can't refuse. He only has to bear Yun's glare all throughout. Stick mentions that he feels like someone or something is watching them, but he dismisses it as his imagination. Blackstone asks Chen if he knows about the lake up ahead, to which the latter answers yes. Blackstone relays a story from his childhood about the monster he saw. He says it ate a whole leopard in one swallow. Blackstone was amazed at that time. Now he wonders if he can fight it if they ever encounter the monster. Chen says it doesn't matter much to him if they encounter the lake monster. He's more interested in meeting giants. At this, Stick trembles with fear. He pleads with his king to never go near giants. Chen asks Stick why he's so afraid. The guy lets out a terrified squeal before revealing the reason behind his fears. Before meeting Chen Liyi, the unknown tribe was originally a group of 30 people. They encountered a giant one day, which wreaked havoc in their homes. Most people were eaten alive, but those who survived wouldn't forget such terrifying scenes. Chen finally understands why Seeker and the others are afraid of giants. He must consider this information if he wants to form an alliance with these creatures. As they walk further, the vegetation seems to become more varied. There's one plant that Blackstone identifies from his childhood, which gave him severe consequences when he ate it. Chen checks the plant within the system. It's a poisonous and spicy laxative. Chen laughs at Blackstone before checking out the other plants. He finds out that most of the plants have healing qualities, some have detoxifying effects, anti-allergenic properties, and some reduce inflammation. He realizes they are in a medicine garden. This is a wonderful discovery that will be helpful for his tribe's health. Then he spots a more familiar plant. The system identifies it as proto-millet, a type of cereal. Bingo! With this, their food variety will widen. A prompt appears showing another side quest. His task is to plant more than one type of grain and harvest them. He has 180 days to complete this. He'll get 2 heritage plaques if successful. Finally, they can enter the era of farming. If they find a place that's a good source of clay, everything will be easier. He looks back at the grain and realizes it's not mature yet. He makes a mental note to return and harvest it later. Then he gets that feeling of being watched again. This time, Ayun and Stick feel it too. Stick points at the bushes where he thinks someone is hiding. But all Chen sees is the plant that will be good for making ropes, fabrics, and paper. Stick corrects him. He tells his king to look beyond the bushes. Slowly, a pack of hyenas walks towards them, their eyes glowing red. Chen thinks the animals have followed them to seek revenge. No matter, they'll easily eliminate them. The pack of hyenas starts to attack them. Blackstone easily captures 2 and bangs them together, while Ayun cuts one. Then the animals start running away. Chen wants to deal with these creatures thoroughly. He doesn't want to keep being ambushed again and again. He leads his people to chase the hyenas. The animals have led them into a place where there are lots of dead and dry trees. Chen realizes he has a lower agility attribute than the hyenas. It may be better not to pursue these animals further. Then he hears Ayun scream. She's upside down, held by several moving vines. Below her is a giant bud that looks like it's salivating. The system identifies it as the Crimson King flower, a carnivorous plant with a corrosive mucus that disrupts the surrounding ecology. Chen is perplexed. With his encounters with very unusual creatures, he's starting to think that this primitive era is far from what he commonly knows. Ayun's bone dagger falls into the open bud. Immediately, the acid within dissolves the weapon, terrifying Ayun and Chen. Chen calls for Blackstone and Stick, but they have also been captured by the plant's vines. He has no choice but to fight alone. Ayun tells him to save the other 2 first, as it's already late for her. The vines drop her straight into the waiting mouth of the carnivorous plant. To add to Chen's troubles, the hyenas are back to capture him. Thankfully, Blackstone manages to free one of his hands. He throws the flasks towards the animals. Blackstone tells him he should run away, while he and Stick will attempt to follow him later. But Chen refuses to leave them. He sees that they are being attacked by the hyenas as well. One of them has bitten Stick on his leg. As he fights off the vines, he realizes these floras have slow movements. He also realizes that the hyenas are aware of this, and thus have taken advantage to lure them here. He should have known something was amiss with all of these dead trees. Dead trees? That's it. He can use the niters to defend himself. He throws one towards a dry stump and hits it hard with his axe. Instantly, flames erupt and spread quickly. Because of the heat, the carnivorous bud opens, and Chen manages to pull out Ayun. Thankfully, she hasn't been digested yet, although her clothes are mostly dissolved. With the flames spreading towards the Crimson King flower, Blackstone and Stick had escaped from the vines. Chen continues to use niter to flame up the surrounding dead trees. They can see a pond ahead of them. Chen orders everyone to run straight ahead to save themselves from the fire. However, they don't see that one hyena is about to devour Ayun. Just in time, Ayun looks back to see the hyena about to pounce on her. Chen sees it too. He reaches out his hand, and Ayun holds it. Chen switches their positions so that he is the one pounced on by the hyena. While grappling the animal, he tells the others to escape the fire. He thinks the hyena is almost tired now. It's only a matter of time. Suddenly, an arrow hits the hyena's neck, ending it instantly. When Chen looks at his side, he sees it's Yun who did it using his bow. Her innate talent for archery has just been activated. But Yun is gravely injured. Her ankle is badly twisted. She tells Chen to leave her there. Again, he refuses. He carries her in a piggyback, and the four of them run towards the pond. While running, Yun whispers to Chen that she has suspicions about the tribe merger from before. She suspects that it was Chen who orchestrated the bulls' attack on her clan. She noticed before that the bulls were wounded when they ravaged the place. Their stone sling couldn't penetrate their thick skin, so this meant someone had managed to injure them. Then she also noticed that Chen and his men were well adept at fighting the bulls. Yun had put two and two together, but she had no concrete proof. And so, with only her suspicions, she orchestrated the assassination attempt. But now, no one will ever know if she slices his throat with her extra bone dagger. She's willing to end him in honor of her queen, even if it means she'll face her demise as well. Chen remains quiet. This woman on his back is not someone to be trifled with. Instead, he focuses on their escape. He tells Yun she can do whatever she wants with him. But for now, they must escape this inferno. Yun eventually relents, seeing that the king is sincere with his words. Well then, she'll leave him alone. But if he betrays the queen, she will not hesitate to do what she has always intended to do. At last, the four of them have reached the bay. They all jump into the pond, where the fire can't reach them. Later, they return to the medicine garden. Chen decides this is not the right time to meet a giant. Therefore, he'll prioritize harvesting those plants so they can plant them back in their tribe. With the help of the system, Chen has managed to concoct medicine for Styx and Yun's injuries. While they are recovering, he and Blackstone gather all the plants they can for their journey home. Suddenly, Blackstone smells something familiar. The plants have the same smell as the hyenas. Upon investigation, they discover the cubs hiding beneath. Now Chen understands why those animals became feral with them. They were only protecting their young. A prompt appears showing another side quest. It's another beast-taming mission, where he must raise the hyenas to be the tribe's hunting dogs. There's no time limit, and the rewards are one small supply chest and one hunting weapon. Chen accepts the quest, as he finds the cubs cute. Once they're ready, they set out on their journey home. However, they encounter another vicious creature with an ear-splitting roar. It's a man-eating bear. Chen has to think quickly. Yun and Stick are still injured, and Blackstone carries most of their packages. It means he's the only one who can properly fight the beast. He orders them to go around while he keeps it busy. There's no time to argue, so they must do as he says. Chen tells Blackstone to take care of the others and get them to safety. Blackstone follows, and the three run away. The sounds of growls and slashes echo throughout the forest. They know Chen is viciously fighting the bear. Blackstone can't help but worry about his king. He wants to go back and help in his fight, but Stick stops him. He vouches for the king's strength, as he has personally seen it during the fight with the king bull. Besides, if they stay with him, they'll only hinder his movements. Blackstone doesn't like this, but he acknowledges that this is the best plan for now. And so, the three of them continue to run. Back to Chen, he has managed to completely lure the bear's attention away from his group. Now it's time to distract the bear and escape. He makes faces to piss off the animal. He even flips it off. It seems effective as the bear becomes furious. He runs away in the opposite direction, making sure the bear chases him. But his troubles are far from over. Lurking behind the bushes is a familiar enemy. It's the saber-tooth. The feline seems to have recognized him as well. The bear has caught up. Now Chen is face to face with two ferocious beasts. He's aware that he's not powerful enough to defeat them. He considers using his trump card, the power of Pangu, but using it will weaken him significantly and for a long time. He can't be sure that the giant stone clan will not attack them during his recovery. It's a risk he doesn't want to take. He can make them fight each other, but it looks like the bear and the saber-tooth are both focused on him. The system shows him an option. His emergency escape mode is now activated. This means he'll temporarily gain 20 agility points and convert his strength to stamina for 600 seconds. Once this mode ends, 33% of his attributes will be permanently reduced. Chen can feel the energy surging through his body. Both the bear and the saber-tooth attack him at once. He jumps up, causing the beasts to violently bump into each other. Still, they won't give him up. They chase Chen throughout the forest. With his escape mode activated, he easily runs away from the beasts, with 325 seconds left from the countdown. Finally, he escapes. He thinks the emergency escape mode is amazing, but it comes at a very high cost. He looks around him and realizes he's reached the top of the snow-capped mountains. There's still time remaining. He might as well use it to fulfill his original plan of seeing a giant. Against the snow, Chen hikes up the mountain until he reaches another peak. When he looks down, he can't believe what he sees. There's a giant hidden in a corner, all of it frozen solid. Nearby is a tied dinosaur. Everything he's seen so far are all bizarre, but this one tops it. What is going on? That's it for today's recap. Give us a like and subscribe for more videos. See you next time.